Welcome to the Summer Crop and Create Delivered video series. In this series, I'll create 3 separate layouts using the summer kit. Today we're going to create an 8.5 by 11 inch layout based on this sketch. Now, I love this sketch because it has a great linear vibe going down the left side of it. It has a main photo, a title area, as well as room for additional journaling. And I think you'll like what I did with it because I took a kind of unexpected direction with it. First thing that I want to do is I want to cut down my yellow pattern paper that has the cloud pattern paper to an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper. So to do that, we'll use our paper trimmer, open it up, and we'll cut it 11 inches tall by 8.5 inches wide. And then we can save the rest of the cloud paper for another project if we so desire. But this is going to form the back. If you want more of the cloud paper saved, then simply trim out the inside part of this piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and use it. Then I'm going to trim my 8.5 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, which was originally 12 by 12. I'm going to trim it down to about 8 1/4 by about 10 3/4. And we'll see how much of the yellow that shows. If it doesn't show enough, then I will go ahead and trim off some additional pieces. And it looks like I want to trim off a little bit more. You can have an exact measurement if you want. I tend to eyeball it a little bit. But I thought it would be fun to center the black cardstock on top of the yellow cardstock for this particular layout. And this will work just fine. Simply need to adhere this to the back. And then we'll start building the layout. All right, let's refer back to the actual sketch. And there's enough room on my camera that I can keep them side by side so you can kind of see what I did here. Now I'm going to take the grid squares that were in the actual pattern paper DIY ephemera pack, and I'm going to start creating a grid layout. So rather than use circles, I'm going to use the squares. And we're going to use some of them just the way they appear, while others we're going to assemble slightly differently. And I know that I'm going to be using this photo frame, and I'm going to overlap those 2 blocks a little bit. And then I'm going to trim down this hello card just a smidge, because I want more of it on the page, because I'm going to trim off part of it as well. Trim this off, and then we'll see if we can fit it on the layout. Perfect. So we can adhere this to the side. So you can see that I took the concept of a shape running down the layout, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to use squares, and I'm going to off-center them a little bit. This is going to use as many bright neon type colors as possible. This is a great layout for a teenager or a child who is drawn to neon. And when I use neon, I usually like to change my photos to black and white. So we're going to use the stamp set that comes with this stamp set. And I took the Go See Do Summer and Explore. And I'm going to use white pigment ink. And it's Unicorn White from Hero Arts. And we're going to stamp it just below the pink square. And this is going to serve as our journaling. So rather than traditional journaling, this will serve as our journal. And it will dry a little bit. If you want it to maintain its vibrancy, then I suggest using an embossing powder. Then I want to add a few embellishments before I add my photo. So I'm going to take some of the die cuts from the summer collection from American Crafts and just start adding some fun embellishments. And some I can layer on top and some I'll layer beneath. Be sure that you don't smudge the stamping ink because it is very fragile. You don't want to mess it up. And then behind the frame, I'm going to place the lemon. Now let's go ahead and add the photo. So for the photo, I have a black and white one that we're going to use, and I'm going to adhere this to the back here. Just add a little bit of adhesive so that it sticks. We'll mount this on top of the photo. Make sure that none of the photo sticks out behind. And if it does, you can simply use your scissors and trim off that extra part, making sure not to trim through that paper photo frame. So now we can adhere this. Let's make sure that it works. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the ribbon. I'm going to take some of this green chevron and I'm going to wrap it around and tie it into a bow. You'll want to straighten out your ribbon and make sure that it's not crooked. And then you can adjust the bow part of it as well. Ribbon always adds just a fun texture. So now we'll add it to our layout. And overlap some of these items just a little bit. Then I thought it would be fun to add one of the flare buttons. We're going to use the ampersand button, and we can do that just using some glue dots. I'll add two because they're fairly small. This will also help hold that ribbon in place. To the top of the lemon, I'm going to add some of the chipboard stars from the collection. And first I get a feel for where I want to put them, and then I come back and adhere them. As you can see, I'm trying to overlap some of the items I've already created so that it marries everything together. And then once I get it how I like, then I can go back and add glue dots. So rather than do a traditional title for this layout, I'm going to use the journaling card. And this 3x4 journaling card was actually cut from American Crafts paper, an Amy Tangerine paper. And I thought that would be a fun title rather than cutting a title or using the letter stickers. So you have options. Look for titles within the actual papers themselves or some of the embellishments. And then finally I'm going to add a paper clip to the photo as well. So it's fairly simple, but based on the sketch I was able to create the grid that runs down the left center by creating a different grid with journaling cards that are both square and rectangle. So thank you for joining me for this Summer Crop and Create Delivered Kit video. Be sure to watch the additional 2 videos that show 2 additional layouts that we're going to make using this beautiful summer kit.